Welcome back. All right, so second review of the day. So if you're looking for the matinee games, already reviewed, already done. We're starting with the ones that start at 4 p.m. Eastern, or 4 p.m. Pacific, I should say 7 o'clock Eastern. So starting things off, looking at Pittsburgh and the Ottawa Senators. So it's Jarry versus Ullmark. Penguins press at 3 minutes. The shots are 2-1 Ottawa at 5.5 minutes. Hamonic to Greg, near miss there. And then at 7:33, Chabot gets Ottawa on the board, scoring from Giroux and Gaudette. The Penguins got stuck on one shot for a while. Bunting's denied on a rush. The rebound gets blocked. The Penguins would press with a minute and a half left, but it's 1-0 Ottawa after one. Second period, Pettersson wasn't on the Pens bench at the start of that period. Early power play for Ottawa, that's killed off. The shots are 4-1 for the Senators at 3 minutes. Tkachuk's denied on a fast break. Penguins press at 6.5 minutes. We get a power play for Ottawa. That's killed off. Shots are 13-3 Ottawa with 7 minutes left. Pinto fires one high on a rush. The teams trade rushes. Good pace to this game. Sens press with 4 minutes left. Crosby's denied on a rush. There's a press by the Penguins. The Sens block in the final minute. And it's still 1-0 Ottawa after two. Third period, 2 minutes and 39 seconds in. Lizotte scores to tie the game up. Achari and Grzelcyk with the assists, and then the Penguins look for the lead. The shots are 3-1 Pittsburgh at 4.5 minutes. At 6:38, a puck goes in off Batherson's skate. Chabot and Norris with the assists. Goal counts. Penguins look to respond. Game's opening up. Senators are a post away from 3-1. Shots are 8-5 Ottawa at the half. Penguins press with 9 minutes left, and then a seeing eye shot from Letang goes post and in at 12:42. Ties the game up at 2. Penguins then look for the lead. There's some momentum for the Penguins late in the period. Stützle has a rush chance that's saved. We're going to overtime tied at 2. Stützle fires one wide. The Sens keep a hold of the puck. Malkin steals. Rust can't bury one. Ottawa would get it back, and at 1:46, Tkachuk scores from Sanderson to make it a 3-2 win for Ottawa. They go to 15-13-2 with the win. With the overtime loss, Pittsburgh 13-14-5. And this is the first 3-game winning streak of the season for the Ottawa Senators. Shots on net, 8-5 Ottawa in the first, 14-13 Pittsburgh in the second, 9-8 Ottawa in the third. Ottawa had the only shot of overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots, 31-27 Ottawa. Power plays, Pittsburgh didn't have any. Ottawa, 0 for 2. The hits, 36-32 Pittsburgh. So physical game. Jarry had a good game, 28 saves on 31 shots, but Ullmark, another great game for Ullmark, 25 saves on 27 shots. He has been red hot over the last little while and helps the Sens get another victory tonight. All right, next up, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings. So it's Woll versus Husso. DeBrincat gets kneed by Pacioretty, so that was a penalty for Pacioretty. DeBrincat would stay in the game. The Wings struggle to set it up. Then there's a post for Rasmussen. That power play's killed off. Shots are 3-0 Detroit at 3.5 minutes. We get a power play for Toronto. That's killed off as well. The Wings press at 9 minutes. At 9:07, Petrie. Basically, as I'm writing this on the board, Petrie scores. Petrie from Veleno. That's Veleno and Fisher. I'll just go ahead and change that. I'll change that. It's Veleno and Fisher. Be funny if they changed it from Veleno. Oh no, they took that assist away from Veleno. But that's Veleno and Fisher. So that deflects past the screen into the net. The Leafs score, but they're offside, so that goal comes back. Domi to McMahon gets blocked. The Leafs get some pressure, but it's 1-0 Detroit after one. Second period, the shots are 2-1 for the Leafs at 4 minutes. The Leafs press at 6.5 minutes. Pacioretty has a backhand that's kicked aside. Raymond has a net feed that's picked off. We then get a power play for Toronto, and they score on it. It's Matthews with his 10th of the year. It's a one-timer on a cross-ice pass. Marner and Nylander with the assists. That's at 11:40 of the second period. We have a 1-1 tie. Wings look to respond. There's a press by Detroit with 6 minutes left. Larkin has a wrister that's held. Wings with some more pressure with 3.5 minutes left, but they're kept to the outside. Teams trade rushes. McMahon has a spinning backhand that's saved. The Leafs press with 2 minutes left, but at 19:42, Sider from the slot on some nice passing. Kopp and Kane with the assists puts Detroit ahead 2-1. In the third period, 1:07 in, Toronto ties the game. It's Matthew Knies with his 11th of the season. Marner and McCabe with the assists, but at 1:51, Petrie answers with his second goal of the game. He buries a rebound in close. Comfer with the assist. Detroit has their lead back at 3-2. We get a power play for Detroit. That leads to a shorthanded breakaway by Marner, which is saved. That power play is killed off. The Wings go back to the power play. That one's killed off as well. There's a net feed to Holmberg. That gets blocked. Eventually, they pull the goalie, and at 19:58, Raymond hits the empty net from Larkin, and your final score is 4-2 for Detroit. They go to 12-14-4 with the win. With the loss, Toronto 18-10-2. Shots on net, 10-6 Detroit in the first, 15-9 Toronto in the second, 7-4 Detroit in the third. Final shots 26-25 for the Wings. Power plays, Toronto 1 for 2, Detroit 0 for 3. The hits 19-13 Toronto. Wall saves 22 out of 25. Husso saves 23 out of 25. All right, next up, Buffalo and the Washington Capitals. So it's Luukkonen versus Thompson in this one. Early press by Buffalo. Dubois has a rush chance, that saved. And then at 1:36, Zucker opens the scoring for Buffalo. He scores from Greenway and McLeod. Then there's a near miss for Thompson on a rush. Cousins has a one-timer that's kicked aside. Caps then get some pressure at 8 minutes. More pressure by Washington at the half. In fact, with 8 minutes left in the period, the shots are 10-4 for the Capitals. Strong forechecking by Washington as well. Eventually, they get a power play, and they score on it. It's Wilson from Carlson and McMichael at 17:09. The Sabres look to respond. Things get pushed on hold by Thompson, but it's 1-1 after 1. Second period, Carlson fires one wide on a net drive. We then get a power play for the Capitals, and again, they score on it, and it's Wilson again. He scores from Chychrun at 5:11 as he buries a rebound at the net. Sabres press to respond. That leads to a brief fight between Cousins and Ferravari. Zucker has a net drive that's defended at 7:24. It's Kulik tying the game for Buffalo. He scores from Byram and Thompson. Sabres press at 9 minutes. We get a power play for Buffalo. That becomes a 4-on-4. Sandin gets shaken up. The fans tell the referee he sucks because he didn't call a penalty on the play. Everything gets killed off, and then with 1:25 left, the Sabres get a power play. So it's 2-2 after 2, and the power play rolls over into the third. The Sabres do, or the Caps, I should say, do finish the kill. Thompson has a net drive that's defended. Sabres press at 2.5 minutes. The shots are only one apiece at 5.5 minutes. Strome to McMichael, near miss. There's a rush chance by Strome then that's held, and at 11:05, Strome gets a goal. He scores from Carlson and Radish. The Sabres press with 4.5 minutes left. With 2:39 left, the Sabres call a timeout, and then Washington hits the empty net. It's Chychrun from Carlson and Dubois at 18:30. That's your insurance goal. Washington wins 4-2. They go to 21-6-2 with the win. With the loss, Buffalo 11-15-4. Shots on net, 12-6 Washington in the first, 13-10 Washington in the second, 6-5 Washington in the third. They outshoot Buffalo 31-21. Power plays, Buffalo 0 for 2, Washington 2 for 3. The hits, 27-25 for Washington. Luukkonen, 27 saves on 30 shots. Thompson, 19 saves on 21 shots. All right, last one on this board is Anaheim and Columbus. So it's Gibson versus Greaves in this one. Good early back and forth. Kent Johnson's denied on a turnover. Shots are 4-1 for the Ducks at 4 minutes. Columbus presses at 6 minutes. Shots are 6 apiece with 9 minutes left. Columbus presses with 5 minutes left. Eventually, it's Anaheim that opens the scoring. McTavish scores from Fabry and Lacombe at 16:33. Now, on the play, McTavish crashes into the goalie because he got pushed by the Columbus defender, and yet they gave the penalty to McTavish there, which on replay, you can make the argument either way. I was just a bit surprised they gave him a goalie interference penalty there, which leads to Marchenko at 17:09 from the high slot pass to screen, getting the power play goal. So they do tie it up. And then at 17:43 on the forecheck, a tic-tac-toe play results where Columbus gets the leading goal. Sillinger from Aston Reese and Olivier, making it 2-1 for Columbus after the first. Second period. Early press by Columbus. Lacombe has a screenshot that saved. The Ducks draw a power play. That is killed off. Fantilli pokes in the puck. Gibson had it, though. So he just played to the whistle. He didn't hear the whistle, so even though Gibson was covering it, he poked it in the net, which caused a bunch of people to come over and tell him, we don't like that here. Please don't do that. Columbus presses. They're kept to the outside. Terry fires one wide on a rush. There's a Blue Jackets 2-on-1 that gets broken up. Shots are 5-2 Columbus at the half. Columbus presses with 8 minutes left. At 13:56, Killorn was left alone in the left circle. He just comes on the ice. He's completely missed, and he buries it. He scores from Strome and Terry, so that ties the game at 2. 2:58 left. Columbus draws a power play, and Columbus would score during that power play. However, it's offside, so no goal, and then the Ducks finish the kill, so it's 2-2 after the second. Third period. Early press by Anaheim, but the shots are 3-0 Columbus, 4.5 minutes in. 7 minutes in, there's still not a shot for the Ducks yet in the period. Columbus presses at 9.5 minutes. Terry's then denied on a fast break. You don't want your first shot of the period to look like that, but that's what happened. And I mean, you don't want it as the goaltender on the other team. You haven't had a shot in a while, and then it's a breakaway. Okay, now what? So Columbus would score JVR, or Van Riemsdyk, from Severson and LeBanc at 11:25. Then there's a post for Sillinger on a net drive as Columbus is looking for the insurance goal. Jack Johnson has a one-timer that's held. The goalie pull happens with 2:55 left, and it works. At 17:14, Lacombe, it's a point shot that deflects in. He scores from Terry and Killorn, makes it 3-3. We're going to overtime. In the overtime, Columbus controls early, but at 1:43, Killorn buries one on a breakaway for his second goal of the game, and that's his third point overall as well. Fabry with the assist on that one. Anaheim beats Columbus 4-3 in overtime. Columbus continues to slide. Anaheim 11-14-4 with the win. With the overtime loss, Columbus 12-13-5. Shots on net, 11-10 Columbus in the first, 12-10 Columbus in the second, 17-5 for the Blue Jackets in the third, and 2-1 in the overtime for Columbus, but Anaheim shot, the one that matters. Final shots, 42-27 Columbus. Power plays, Anaheim 0-1, Columbus 1-2. The hits, 23-21 for Columbus. Gibson was very good, 39 saves on 42 shots. Greaves, 23 saves on 27 shots. That being said, time to change boards. All right, Montreal and Winnipeg. So it's Montembeault versus Hellebuck. Shots are 2-0 Habs at 3 minutes. Montreal presses at 6.5 minutes, and at 7:48 it happens. Lane Hudson with his first NHL goal. That's from Matheson and Caulfield. The Habs then press for another, and you could hear how many Habs fans there were in that crowd early on. Shots are 7-4 Montreal at the half. We then get a power play for the Jets, and they score on it. It's a cross-ice pass and buried by Velarde. Connor and Morrissey with the assist at 14:34. Then at 16:40, Lowry buries one in close. Niederreiter and DeMello with the assists. Winnipeg has a 2-1 lead. Jets then press for another. It's 2-1 Winnipeg after one. Second period, Caulfield's denied in close. The Habs press at 2.5 minutes. We get a power play for Winnipeg. That becomes a 5-on-3, and Winnipeg's dangerous on the power play in the first place. Don't give them a 5-on-3. They score on it. Connor wires one from the right circle. Morrissey and Velarde with the assists at 6:26. Habs finish the kill. Then Montreal gets turned on the power play. Laine has a chance that's held. That was killed off as well. Habs press with 9.5 minutes left. Jets go back to the power play. It becomes a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. It's 3-1 Winnipeg after two. Third period, Morrissey has a wrister that's kicked aside. Habs press at 2.5 minutes. The Jets press at 4 minutes. We get a power play for Montreal. That becomes 4-on-4. Everything's killed off again. And then Josh Anderson scores to make it a one-goal game. He gets that from Dvorak and Gallagher at 8 minutes. Jets press at 9 minutes. But the shots are 7-4 for Montreal with 8 minutes left. There's a near miss for Nemesnikov on a rush. 3:35 left. The Jets get a power play. There's a shorthanded Matheson rush chance that saved. Montreal kills that off. And then at 19:53, Nemesnikov hits the empty net. Iafallo with the assist. And so it's a 4-2 win for Winnipeg. They go to 22-9-1 with the win. With the loss, Montreal 11-16-3. Shots on net, 11-9 Winnipeg in the first, 10-9 Montreal in the second, 9-7 Montreal in the third. Final shots, 28-27 Montreal. Power plays, 0-4 for the Habs, 2-6 for Winnipeg. The hits, 20-11 Montreal. Montembeault, 23 saves on 26 shots. Hellebuck, 26 saves on 28 shots. And that's how you get back on track as the Winnipeg Jets. All right, next up, St. Louis and Dallas. Binnington versus Ottinger in this one. There's an early press by the Stars. No shots on net, 2.5 minutes in, no room. And, you know, tonight's hockey, it feels like we're settling into a period here where, you know, there's not as much scoring. Not really any crazy games tonight. So maybe we're seeing a bit of a pattern starting to develop. We'll see. Blackwell's denied, the rebounds held. The shots are 3-2 Dallas at 7 minutes. We get a power play for the Blues, and they score 3 seconds after it ends. It's Kyrou from Thomas and Buchnevich at 9:08. So that's a 1-0 lead for St. Louis. The Blues look for another. They end up drawing a second power play. That's killed off by the Stars. Stars press with 4.5 minutes left. Beck then fans on a buzzer beater. It's 1-0 St. Louis after one. Second period. Stars press at a minute and a half. They end up getting a power play, and at 2:39, Robertson on a one-timer via a good cycle scores. Ben and Hintz with the assists. Stars go back to the power play. That one's killed off. Shots are 6-0 Dallas at 8.5 minutes. The Stars press with 9.5 minutes left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The teams exchange rushes. With 3:37 left, there's another power play for the Stars. That's killed off. Bennington honestly was keeping this close. Like, this is a 1-1 tie after 2 because of Jordan Bennington. So third period, I think it must be like I do the goalie power rankings. Where am I? Wait, and he loads up the advanced stats. What do you mean minuses? I'm going to turn that around. So third period, early press by Dallas. Robertson has a net drive chance that's held. Actually, when it looks at expected goals and everything, Bennington's slightly in the positive last I looked. But anyways, that being said, shots are 2-0 Dallas at 3 minutes. The Stars draw a power play. Hintz took a puck to the gut. That looked like it was painful. That power play ends up being killed off. Neighbors has a rush chance that's held. Stars press at 9.5 minutes. The Blues then get some pressure with 7.5 minutes left. Johnston to Robertson. There's a near miss there. 1:26 left. The Stars call a timeout. And Dallas would press in the final minute. So we go to overtime. Tied at 1. Harley to Johnston, near miss. Buchnevich is denied. Otter holds there. It did not count as a shot. And then at 2:31 on a net drive, Duchesne scores. Lindell and Robertson with the assists. Dallas wins this one in overtime 2-1. They go to 18-11 with the win. With the overtime loss, St. Louis 14-14-3. The coaching bump they got with Jim Montgomery, maybe that's passed. Shots on net, 10-7 Dallas in the first, 14-3 Dallas in the second, 10-6 Dallas in the third, and they had all 3 shots in the overtime. Final shots 37-16 for Dallas. Power play, St. Louis 0 for 2. Dallas 1 for 4. The hits 30-12 in favor of St. Louis. Bennington 35 saves on 37 shots, and Ottinger 15 saves on 16 shots. So important victory for Dallas, and for St. Louis, they'll try to pick it up for the next one. All right, next up, Nashville and Colorado. So Saros versus Blackwood. How do Colorado fans feel about Blackwood? It was weird that he had the San Jose gear still, though, right? Saros versus Blackwood. There's an early press by the Abs. They're leading in shots 2-0, 3.5 minutes in. Press by Nashville at 4.5 minutes. They get more pressure 6 minutes in. Girard has a shot that's tipped wide. Novak is then denied on a rebound at the other end. Blackwood is the reason this is staying scoreless at this point in the game. Middlestad has a chance to deflect out. There's a press by Nashville at 2.5 minutes left. And then McKinnon is robbed on a buzzer beater by Saros. So it's 0-0 after 1, but no shortage of chances. Second period, net feed to Nyquist, near miss. Marchessault has a puck to the head. He got up and did skate off, though, but when they take a puck to the head, even if it's visor and helmet, like the visor can come back and cut you. So it's still not fun. Makar is a net feed that's picked off. Shots are 3-2 for Colorado at 6.5 minutes. Marchessault's denied. The rebound's held. And at 11:32, Colorado gets on the board first. On a nice net feed from behind the net, Colton buries one. Middlestad and Taves with the assists. We then get a power play for Nashville. There's a shorthanded rush. Taves hits the post there. That power play's killed off. And then at 18:52, Nathan McKinnon adds one to make it 2-0. Rantanen with the assist there. Nathan McKinnon is starting to run away with the scoring title. So it's 2-0 in favor of Colorado after 2. Third period, the teams exchange rushes. There's a press by Nashville at 3 minutes, which must have upset Colorado because they score shortly thereafter. At 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it's Lehkonen from McKinnon. Nichushkin then fires one high on a rush. The shots are 3-2 for Nashville at 5 minutes. Press by Nashville at 6 minutes. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. That becomes a 4-on-3 power play for the Avs. Things are punchy in a hole by Blackwood. The Preds do end up killing off that power play. And then at 13:03, it starts to get interesting. Stamkos scores from Marchessault and Forsberg. And then at 15:08, with the net knocked off, Evangelista scores from Novak and Willsby. So they reviewed that because of the timing of the net coming off and who knocked it off and all that fun stuff and see if it would go in. And yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then goalie pull happens. So now that it's 3-2, the goalie pull takes place and McKinnon hits the empty net from Makar at 18:08. It was just after Saros had hit the bench. They pull the goalie again, and Lehkonen hits the empty net from Rantanen and Kelly at 19:10. The final score in this one's 5-2, a little more lopsided because of the empty net goals. Colorado 18-14 with a much-needed victory. Nashville 8-17-6. They've resumed their losing ways. Shots on net, 13-9 Nashville in the first, 16-10 Nashville in the second, 15-10 for Colorado in the third. Final shots 39-34 for the Preds. Power plays 0 for 1 for Nashville, 0 for 2 for Colorado. The hits 23-16 Colorado. Saros 29 saves on 32 shots. Blackwood 37 saves on 39 shots. So Not too shabby. Okay, Florida. What's going on with Florida? I got a power rankings to do tonight. And I'll be dipped if I can figure out exactly where Florida belongs, because something's going on here with Florida and you don't want to overreact. So let's go through it. So it's Knight versus Wolf. Early press by Calgary, but the shots are 2-0 Florida 3 minutes in. There's a net feed to Zary. There's a near miss there. Dewar has a sharp angle chance that's saved. The Flames press at 8.5 minutes, and they would score at 8:57 as Kadri unassisted, so 1-0 Calgary there. Then we get a crossbar for Ekblad. Ekblad then has a shot that's blocked as Florida's pressing. Shots are 8-5 Florida with 4 minutes left. With 2:36 left, the Panthers get a power play. That's killed off. So with 18 seconds left, Florida goes back to the power play. That rolls over into the second period. Calgary up 1-0. The Flames finish the kill. We then get a power play for Calgary. That was killed off as well. Tkachuk has a shot that's caught and held. The shots are 5-3 Florida at 7 minutes. Adam Boqvist gets denied. The Flames clear it out. Kadri has a rush that's defended. Backlund scores off his skate, so it's reviewed. And as soon as I saw it, it was funny because the announcers were very positive about it, and I'm watching that replay and going, that looks like a kick. And so they review it and they decide, yeah, that's a kick. If it's off the inside of the skate and you're angling it towards the net, you're in the action of angling it towards the net. Generally, if it's off the outside of the skate, usually that counts. Off the inside of the skate, very often it does not. And in this case, it does not. The Panthers press with 2 minutes left. Lundell has a rush chance that's saved. And then at 19:05, Coleman scores to get a little bit of breathing room here. He scores from Coronado and Backlund. Things are punchy at the horn. The Flames come out of that with a power play to start the third period, already up 2-0. Huberdeau has a shot that's blocked. The power play gets killed off by Florida. The Flames get some pressure after it's done. Then we get another press by Calgary 5 minutes into the period. Pahal has a chance that's saved. The rebound's cleared. Shots are 4-3 Flames at 5.5 minutes. At 6:17, Backlund. And he was the one who had it going off his skate in the second period. He gets that goal back. Kevin Ball with the assist there, making it 3-0. Kadri has a net drive chance that's held. Kulikov's robbed on a one-timer. Panthers press at the half. Wolf holds on. So we get some pushing between these teams. Panthers shots are 10-7 Florida or 10-7 Flames, I should say, with 6.5 minutes left. Panthers press with 3 minutes left. There's a post for Jesper Boqvist. The Panthers are controlling things. They just can't solve Wolf, is what it is. We get a power play for Florida to end it. They never do solve Wolf. Final score is 3-0 for Calgary. They go to 15-11-3 with the win. With the loss, Florida 18-11-2 on the season. Shots on net, 8-5 Florida in the first, 14-9 Florida in the second, 13-10 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 32-27 Florida. Florida goes 0 for 3 on the power play. Calgary 0 for 2. The hits, 30-16 for Florida. Knight saves 24 out of 27. Wolf saves all 32 shots for, I believe, his second shutout of the season. Not too shabby. And now, the next board. Okay, third board. Now, normally, when Boston plays Vancouver, for the review, I'll wear the jersey of the winning team. With how tonight's game went down and just how sour I'm sure most Canuck fans are, I opted not to do that tonight. Swayman versus Demko. The Canucks that struggle at home showed up tonight, and oh boy, did they ever. So the game against Florida was like the best home game they've played all season. Was this one the worst? That's a question for you. So teams trade turnovers. The Canucks press at 3 minutes, but we get a power play for Boston, and they score on it. And it's Marchand from Lindholm and Pasternak at 5:12. Marchand plays very well in Vancouver. Loves playing in Vancouver. Loves to troll the fans. Bruins press for another. I witnessed it in person multiple times. Shots are 8-1 for Boston at 6.5 minutes. The fans call one. The referee does not. And then at 8:08, Geeky scores from Pasternak and Zacha. And the Canucks still one shot. One shot on net. Hughes has a shot that's blocked as the Canucks press. There's a delay game call. Gives Boston the power play. That's killed off. DeBrusk then has a rush chance that's blocked. It's 2-0 Boston after one. Second period. Demko wins a race to the puck for Pasternak, which I thought was interesting because we know that Demko's knee is not necessarily 100%. It may be showing up in his play here. But at 1:12, Boston scores again. On a fast break, Zacha goes 5-hole. Pasternak and Osterley with the assists. We then get a power play for the Canucks. That's killed off. Garland has a one-timer. That's kicked aside. Hoglander can't bury one in close. Kastelik has a rush chance. That's held. Shots are only 4-3 for Boston at 8.5 minutes. But at 11:49, McLaughlin, it's a slot shot that deflects in. That makes it 4-0 in favor of Boston. Bruins press with 3.5 minutes left, with 21 seconds left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. So that rolls over into the third period. And during the 4-on-4, 26 seconds into the third period, Pastrnak scores from McAvoy. And that really brings out the Boo Birds. And honestly, I can't say I blame them. It's 5-0. It's Boston. Everybody in Vancouver hates Boston unless they're also a Boston fan. And who would cheer for Vancouver and Boston? Crazy person, that's who. Teams exchange rushes. The Bruins press at 5.5 minutes. Boston draws a power play. That becomes a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off there. And then if you wanted a good feeling good moment for tonight for Vancouver, Sasson gets his first NHL goal on a turnover. Miller gets the pass to him at 10:13, and it's in the net. So that makes it 5-1. Canucks press with 8 minutes left with 2:49 left. Boston gets a power play. That's killed off. But yeah, Boston wins this one 5-1. They go to 16-13-3. With the loss, Vancouver 15-9-5 on the season. Shots on net 16-4 Boston in the first, 12-8 Vancouver in the second, and then 5-4 Boston in the third. Not a lot happening in the third outside of those two goals. Final shots 29-20 Boston. Power plays 1 for 4 for Boston, 0 for 2 for Vancouver. Hits 30-18 for Vancouver. Swayman 19 saves on 20 shots. Demko 24 saves on 29 shots. And when I was looking at tickets before the season started and before I decided I can't afford to go to any of the games this year, this game was ridiculously priced, very, very highly priced because Boston only comes to town once a year. So, again, I understand why fans were booing so loudly in the third period. That was not a cheap game. All right, next up, Utah and San Jose. It was Vejmelka versus Vanacek. This might have been the most entertaining of the games tonight, honestly. Sharks press at 2.5 minutes. Ferraro has a chance that's caught and held. We get a power play for the Sharks. That's killed off. Toffoli's denied. The rebound's cleared. And then at 7:27, a slot shot deflects in. It's Gunther from Cooley and Sergachev. Utah draws a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by Utah with 8.5 minutes left. Shots are 9-5 Utah with 7.5 minutes left. And then Wenberg, he ties the game from Goudreau and Ceci at 14:58. For Barclay Goudreau, tonight I believe was his 600th career game. Sharks then look for the lead. Eklund as a rush is defended with 33.6 seconds left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. It's 1-1 after 1. Second period, Sergachev to Keller near miss. Zetterlund has a rush chance. That's held. The shots are 4-1. San Jose at 3.5 minutes. We get a power play for Utah. That's killed off. Toffoli has a slot shot. That's held. Utah goes back to the power play. There's a shorthanded rush by Cunnin. That power play's killed off as well. Sharks press with 9 minutes left at 14:11. Granlund puts one in from a sharp angle, and it took a Sharks bounce over to him. No chance for Vejmelka. No way he'd anticipate the puck would take that right turn like or left turn like that. Granlund from Zetterlund and Eklund. So the Lund line gets that and makes it 2-1 San Jose. Kolyachonok has a rush chance. That save. I did get a kick out of the San Jose announcers with that name because, yeah, Kolyachonok is a tough one. It is. 3:53 left. The Sharks get a power play. That's killed off with 1:20 left. Utah gets a power play, and they score on it. It's Schmaltz from Cooley and Keller at 18:52. That ties the game at 2. We go to the third period. There's an early power play for Utah. That's killed off, and then the Sharks get a power play, and they score on it. It is Zetterlund from Kovalenko and Celebrini at 5 minutes. So there's Kovalenko with another point. That's 4 points in his first 2 games with San Jose. Utah presses at 8 minutes. Things get pushed on hold by Vanacek. And there was a lot of Utah chances in that third period. At 9:49, Carcone scores from Stenlund and Kerfoot to tie the game at 3. The shots are 11-2 for Utah with 8.5 minutes left. Stenlund's denied on a rush. There's some pushing after that. With 1:21 left, we get 2 minutes of 4-on-4, which becomes a 4-on-3 power play for Utah, which is where the fans are telling the referee he sucks, especially after Clayton Keller, who drew the power play, gets the game-winning goal. He scores from Sergachev and Schmaltz at 19:16. So San Jose would try to come back, and there was a missed call, depending on how you saw it. You may have seen it as a missed call or not a missed call on Utah after that, but Utah wins this one 4-3. They go to 14-11-5 with the win. With the loss, San Jose 11-17-5. Shots on net, 11-8 Utah in the first, 12-10 Utah in the second, 17-4 Utah in the third. Final shots 40-22 for the Utah Hockey Club. Power plays, Utah 2 for 6, San Jose 1 for 3. The hits 17-15 for Utah. Vejmelka saves 19 out of 22, and Vanacek saves 36 out of 40 at the other end. All right, last game of the night, It is Tampa Bay in Seattle against the Kraken. So it's Johansson versus Grubauer. I forgot to put Grubauer's name up there. Let me go ahead and fix that because that just doesn't look right. All right, so Johansson versus Grubauer. The teams exchange rushes. We get a power play for the Kraken, and they score on it. It's Montour from Tolvanen and Wright at 4:24. And then Seattle presses for another. Wright gets denied. Johansson holds there. The shots are 7-0 Seattle at 6 minutes. Tampa Bay did not start on time, but they did get started. At 8:16, Hagel with a perfect tip and close, which was only their second shot. Perbix with the assist there. It's a 1-1 tie. And then at 13:21, Point buries a rebound from the inner slot. Radish and Gensel with the assists. Braden Point already has 20 goals on the season, and that makes it 2-1 for Tampa Bay after the first. Second period, Gonçalves has a net drive that's saved. The Bolts press at 3 minutes. See, Gonçalves. You guys just give me a little bit of time. I'm going to botch names. Like Bischel's name there for Dallas, and I botched him a few times, and I get it. I'm fine. But yeah, Gonçalves, net drive, that saved. Bolts press at 3 minutes. Things are pushed and a hold by Johansson. Shots are 5-2 Tampa at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Bolts. That's killed off. Cartier has a net feed that's picked off. The Bolts press with 5 minutes left. Tampa Bay goes back to the power play. That's killed off as well. Burakovsky then has a screenshot that's saved. It stays 2-1 Tampa after 2. Third period, there's an early press by Seattle. We then get a press by Tampa at 2.5 minutes. Tampa Bay ends up getting a power play, and they score on it. Gensel, who now has a 6-game goal-scoring streak, he bats one out of the air. Point and Kucherov with the assists at 4:03. Bolts press for another, but the shots are 3-2 Seattle at 6 minutes. Tolvanen has a rush chance, that's saved. Point fires one wide from the slot. We get a power play for Seattle. That's killed off. The goalie pull happens with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. And at 13:08, Hagel hits the empty net. Kucherov with the assist. So they didn't pull the goalie. No, they did not. I'm used to when there's multiple goals at the end that means there's another goalie pull. There was not. Carlisle scores with Grubauer in the net. His first NHL goal at 1938 was a nice play too. Glendening and Acimont with the assists there. So Tampa Bay wins this one 5-1. They go to 16-10-2 with the win. With the loss, the Kraken 15-15-2. This is a rare night where I didn't need the 80s magnet at all. I didn't need it for the earlier one either. I only had one shutout magnet needed, and there were no really lopsided games either. Like I said, very, very evenly played for the most part tonight in these games, which makes it a little closer, but not crazy games, right? So shots on net in this one, 10-8 Tampa in the first, 13-8 Tampa in the second, 8-6 Tampa in the third. They do outshoot the Seattle Kraken, 31-22. Not sure why I made so many spelling errors on this board tonight. These boards tonight, actually. Multiple boards. I think I was just in a hurry to get all these done up and good to go for all you fine people on the internet. So the final shots, 31-22 for Tampa Bay. Power plays, Tampa Bay 1 for 3, Seattle 1 for 2. The hits, 32-15 Seattle. Johansson saves 21 out of 22. Grubauer 26 saves on 30 shots. So entertaining games tonight. Good games tonight. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for all your support. It's greatly appreciated. I will talk to you again soon.